Hey guys, welcome to ChiquiStudios. Thank you so much for joining in on episode number 4 of my live stream tutorials. Today we're going to be creating this macrame hanging shelf. This project is super fun because there's so much that you can do with it. It can be a shelf or you can hang it as a nightstand. You can also cut these strings longer so that the shelf can fall down a little bit lower. You can also do more knots than the ones we will be creating today, and you can also cut your wood longer than the one we'll be using today as well. Just like every other week, I just want to start off by quickly talking about the tools that I use on a day-to-day basis. For those of you that have been following along, you might already have everything, but I just want to talk about these, so for the people that are new to the tutorial and to macrame in general, so they can feel comfortable and ready to go once they start knotting. So first off, rolling rack and hooks. Both of these I got at IKEA. The rolling rack moves up and down, so it's good to adjust for your projects. Then also I use a yardstick. I got this at Home Depot for 99 cents. I also use tape. I use brown tape, but you can use any type of tape that you have. This is super essential because you should always be wrapping the tips of your cord just to prevent them from unraveling as you're knotting. And then last but not least, some scissors. I know that I say this every week, but I definitely recommend you investing in a good pair of scissors, just so that, because the flimsy and cheap ones break really easily, so, yeah. Then also for this project, I'm using 2 new tools that I never get to use. I'm using a saw. And also, I got to use a drill. I used these to cut the wood that I wanted to use to the specific size that I wanted. So I just had any piece I had a piece of wood laying around at home, so I cut it to 9 inches wide by 15 inches long. And then I also drilled little holes on each of the corners so that I can stick the cord. If you're using anything thicker than what I'm using, make sure that you cut the hole big enough so that the cord fits. And you can also cut these not so much at the edge. You can cut these a little bit more in if you want the wood to come a little bit out when you are once you hang the piece from it. Also, something else that I'll be another of the materials that we'll be using today is 3/16 of an inch cotton cord. I cut 4 cords measuring 2 yards long, and then I cut 1 more cord measuring 1 yard long as well. So here you can cut these longer, like I said before, but the 1 yard you can just leave the same. Another material that I'll be using is a ring. I'm using a wooden ring, but if you're going to be using the shelf for something a little bit more heavy, you can use a metal one or something a little bit more long lasting. So now we're gonna go ahead and start with our project. We're going to place the ring on the hook, and now we're going to grab each one of the cord that we cut, and we're going to be folding it in half and then looping it through the ring until reaching midway. So we cut in half. And fold in half, sorry, and then loop. Fold in half, then and loop again. And then the last one, we fold in half and then we loop. So now we have all 4 strings looped in your ring. So now we're going to grab our cord that measures 1 yard long, and we're going to be doing a wrap knot, which we learned in episode 1 of ChiquiStudios. So what we do is that we grab one side of the string, and then we're going to fold it up like this, leaving like maybe 5 fingers long. So on one side it'll be 5 fingers, and then the rest will have the rest of the string. So the string that has the end is going to go on the left, and the string that has all of this cord is going to go on the right. So we're going to place it in front of our 4 cords, and then with one hand, with the left hand, we're going to grab the loop and all the cords, and then with the right, we're going to wrap this longer string around the cords. So we'll go all around, just like this, all around, until we either run out of this cord or until we reach the bottom of the loop. So we'll keep going. Let's see if I can do one more. I think this last one. So now that we've reached the end, I'm going to loop this leftover string through the loop, and then I'm going to pull the string on top, and then I'm going to hide the loop just like this. So now we're going to cut these 2 leftover strings. Let's get our scissors and cut. There we go. So now, for this next step, we're going to be creating a crown knot. So this is better if you do it on a table, which is what we're going to be doing today. You can also sit down and do it on your lap, if that makes it a little bit easier. So let's move on to the table right now. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to place the hook, we're going to be placing it down like this, and then we're going to separate the cords into 4 groups with 2 cords each. So this is 1, and this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So we can do, yeah. So you just want to pair them with the cords that are kind of near each other. So just like this. So first we're going to work with the vertical cords, and then we're going to move on to the horizontal cords. So this is going to be section 1, and then this is going to be section 2. So we're going to move section 1 from the top to the bottom. And now section 2 is going to go from the bottom to the top. So I'm just going to hold it like this with my fingers just to get a better grip. Now we're going to do the same step with these that are horizontal. So the right is going to go to the left, and the left is going to go to the right. But this time around, we're going to weave through section 1 and 2. So then we'll go over section 2 and under section 1. Started with the right. And then now with the left, we're going to go over section 1 and under section 2, just like this. So you form kind of like a little square. So now we're going to tighten these. Tighten. just like this. Let's make sure they're tight. And so you see, we've created our first crown knot. So now we're going to continue doing this step until we've reached 6 crown knots, so 5 more. So the same, down goes up, and up comes down, and then we're going to weave through. So this section, over and under, and then with the next one, we're going to go over and under. So just like this, and now we're going to tighten it up. So we're going to pull all these strings. There we go. So we have our second crown knot. So now we're going to do the third one. So we'll keep doing the same knot, top to bottom, bottom to top, and now we'll weave through, over and under, and then over and under. So now we'll tighten. So let me show you what we're creating. So this is the crown knot from the side and from the front, and I mean all over. So this is 1, 2, 3. So now we'll go back, and then we're going to do the next 3. So then, same thing how we've been doing. Start with the vertical ones, up and down, going the opposite direction, and then we start with the right, over and under, and then with the left, over and under. Just like this. So if you're sitting down, you can just hold this, the hook and the wrap knot with your legs, and then maybe it'll be a little bit more steady than what I'm doing right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 more. On top. Now over and under. And over and under. Just like this. Now we're going to tighten it. One more time. Pulling all the strings, and then I think this is the last one. So the bottom one goes to the top comes to the bottom. We hold it in here, and then the right goes over the first section and underneath the next, just like this. And then from the left is going to go over the first section and underneath the next section. So we're going to tighten it. Just like this. Make sure they're fully tight. And now we've created our crown knots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So definitely if you use longer cords, you can go ahead and do more of these crown knots. Or if you're using maybe a smaller piece of wood, you can do more as well. So now we're going to set this aside, and then we're going to grab our piece of wood with the top facing up. Just like this. So now we're going to place our kind of like hanger part on top, just like this, just so we can see where we're going to stick the cords in. So these I'm going to put in, and then these I'm going to put in. So now what we're going to do is, so I'm putting these outer ones in the holes and leaving these out, and the same for these. The outer ones are going to go in the holes, and then these I'm going to attach from the outside. So then we're just going to stick the cord in the hole, just like this. 1, 2, then let me flip it around. I think it'll be better. Oh. And now and then this one. Last one. Okay. Now we have all of our cords inside. So now what I'm going to do is that, let's see. Now I'm going to flip it around. And then I'm going to tie them. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to grab the two. I'm going to do the front first, and I'll tell you why in a second, and then I'm going to do the back ones. So you're just going to tie a knot, just a regular knot, and then you're going to do it, tighten it up until kind of like the end of your strings. So you see I just left a little bit of cord left, and then let's see where I have my other cord. Oh, 1 second. So we have right here. So now I'm going to do the same with the other side. I wrap a knot, just like this, and then it's going to go all the way to the tips. Not all the way, but I mean, you can just leave like a finger. And then for the back, you're going to do them a little bit, the knots are going to be a little bit higher. I noticed that when I did my first one and I hung it on the wall, when I had originally knotted them the same exact length, but I noticed that the backs of, when it stood on the wall, the back was kind of weird. So I think for it to be set, the backs need to be a little bit shorter than the front. And I would definitely recommend with the back ones to not knot them really tight, because I think it's best to put them on the wall first to make sure that that you have the right length. And then we're going to go to the next one. That way, if you need to undo and adjust, you can do that. So for the front ones, yeah, you can already set them in place and you can knot them really tight. But then for the back ones, I would definitely suggest waiting until you. So now I'm going to put these on the side. So let's hang this so we can fix the knots. So now what I do is that I just fix the knots and set them in place. This one I knotted a little bit. I might have knotted a little bit too much on this front one. So let's see. So let's re-knot one of these that I noticed. But other than that, these in the back are good, and this one in the front is good as well. I think I knotted too much on one side on this side. So we're going to flip. So this is the great thing about macrame, that you can always undo. Let me put this on the table. You can always undo what you've done, and always you have a chance to redo it. Okay, hopefully this one is done right. Okay. And now once you see that these are in place, you can just cut the bottoms, like the tips where you see the tape. You just cut them. And cut them. And let me cut the back ones real quick. Cut and cut. So just make sure that before you cut them, you tighten them really well. And then you're done. You've created your macrame hanging shelf. Yay! Thank you so much for joining in. Please follow me on Instagram at Shop Hello Chiki and tag your super masterpieces with hashtag ChiquiStudios. Thank you and see you next week.